Hello everybody, Jim Arroyo, president of the Yavapai County Preparedness Team and the leader of the Oath Keepers of Yavapai County. We're the original Oath Keepers and still the largest active group in the United States as far as we know. But we are meeting regularly, a lot of participation, a lot of enthusiasm, obviously because of all of the political upheaval and all the crazy hoopla with Hamas invading Israel and all the other economic bad news. Today, I want to focus on a part of our parallel economy program, and this is going to be kind of an intro video dealing specifically with a subject matter that I have not found really a lot of good information online about, and that's going to be how to barter with gold and silver. We talk about this all the time in our meetings now. We encourage people to invest a portion of their portfolios or any extra cash that they have that they really don't need in savings, put it into precious metals. The thing is we hear all the time, oh, gold and silver are going to be good to barter with in the future, because if we go to a central bank digital currency as a direct result of the collapse of the dollar, which can happen literally any time now, we're hearing more and more about the United States is going to lose its world reserve currency status. When that happens, that is a very bad thing. That is a serious economic indicator. I'll give you another good one that is easily verifiable for all you people out there that think we're conspiracy theorists and doom and gloomers. How about this one? U.S. Treasury auction did not go well. Nobody wants to buy our Treasury bonds. Why is that? Because they know they're probably not going to get paid back. The dollar will collapse and those things will be worthless. So these are economic indicators that we follow. So here's the deal. Tons of videos online, and I encourage all of you, go to YouTube. I love YouTube. It's YouTube University. There's a ton of stuff on there. Even though I got kicked off of YouTube for talking about COVID and vaccines and all of that, there are a lot of good channels on there. And if you really want to learn about precious metals, specifically gold and silver, there are a ton of videos you can see that'll explain it. But what there is really not a lot of is what does it mean to say we're going to barter with gold and silver in the future? And a lot of the average American people out there don't understand this. This was something that was done back in the 1930s where people literally had gold coins that they would purchase things with. They had silver, and that was the currency of the time until the banking collapse in 1933, and then the government banned it and confiscated it. So here's the deal. We want to set up a system for the business community in your local areas and start talking to them about the possibility. So you're going to start by asking your local business owners, if the dollar collapses, and we know it's a matter of when, it's not if, will you be willing to take gold and silver in trade? And start to lay the groundwork for this. And this is going to be an educational process that we are now working on a system of documents that we can produce and publish to help you understand how this works. Because it's one thing to talk about it, it's another thing to really say, well, what's a gold coin worth? How much is a pre-65 quarter worth? People don't know that, and we have to be able to teach them. So here's the deal. If so, what will you offer if they're willing to take the gold and silver in current value? Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky because spot price fluctuates not on a daily basis, not on an hourly basis, but on a minute-by-minute basis. It'll change. And if you're into gold and silver, you understand this. You go to JM Bullion, you go to SD Bullion, which is one of my favorite places, Kitco. Everybody shows the current spot price. What that is melt value. That is what is being determined by the COMEX warehouse in New York and in London. That is not the true value of the silver. For example, if you have a silver round, and right now spot price is a little over $23 an ounce, the value of that silver round when you go to purchase it in a coin store or order online can vary anywhere between $26 and $27 or more, depending on the quantities that you buy. So really it's worth more than spot price. And when you go to sell it, this is going to get into more detail later on, but they're going to always offer you a little bit above spot because your local coin stores, what we call LCSs, the local coin shop is going to want to turn a profit on it. So he's going to offer you a little bit less when you go to sell it. The idea is, in the near future, and what we're doing is offering to our members a place on our website where if you decide you want to sell, let's say, for example, a silver eagle, and they're going for $29 an ounce, then you can sell it to someone at fair market value. And that way you don't lose that premium in there. But in the near future, that may be your only option, is to trade amongst yourselves or take it to the local coin shop. You'll take a little bit of a hit. But also we know that if the dollar collapses, guess what happens to the metals? It's going to look like SpaceX. It's going to be this huge rocket ship to the moon in increase in value. So that's where we want to ask them, what is it you're going to offer right now while the dollar is still in effect? And then you might want to ask them if they're receptive to this, which a lot of them will be. This is nothing new. Is what form of metals would you want more? 90% silver, which what we call, and it's referred to as junk silver. I hate that term with a passion because there's nothing junk about it. The premiums are pretty high on 90% silver coins, which is what we call pre-1965. Anything minted in 1964 or earlier are 90% silver. And it is a very valuable commodity right now because people are buying this stuff left and right. So ask them if they'd want 90% silver, silver rounds, which is not a minted coin like a silver eagle or a Canadian maple leaf or Philharmonic or a Britannia. Those are coins that are minted by a government as opposed to a round, which can be minted by a private party, and you can put whatever design you want. It's still 0.999 and in some cases 0.999949s pure silver, but it is not called a coin, it is a round. So ask them if they'd want those or silver bars. And in some cases, if it's a larger purchase, the business owner who may be savvy about metals and you walk in with a 1 ounce or a 5 or a 10 ounce silver bar for a larger purchase, a 10 ounce silver bar right now is about $250. So if you're making a larger purchase like, let's say a gun store, for example, and you want to buy a gun that's worth $750, if you had 3 10-ounce bars, that dealer just might be interested in swapping that gun for that silver. So ask them, what form of metals they would want. We always start by offering 90% constitutional silver, which is what we really refer to it as. That's a better term. And let's put this stuff back into circulation while it's available. A lot of people are going to want to barter with that. Now I get the old question all the time, well, if I got an ounce of gold and I want to buy a loaf of bread, I'm not going to be able to use that 1 ounce. No, you're not. That's for a much larger purchase or a store of wealth to protect your wealth currently. That's where the smaller fractional sizes of silver are going to come in. If somebody's baking bread and they want to sell that loaf of bread for $4 or $5, then maybe a constitutional quarter, which currently right now goes about $5, would be a fair exchange for that loaf of bread. That's how it works, okay? It's no different than our current monetary system. You're not going to go and offer somebody, you have a $100 bill and the guy's selling a $5 loaf of bread. He may not be able to break that $100 bill, so that's not going to work too well. Same thing with higher denominations of precious metals. They're not going to be able to break that and give you change for a gold eagle, which is $2,200, obviously. But you've got smaller denominations to where you can barter for smaller items and on up the road. Also, tell the businesses about YCPT in our meetings. You local guys, get them to come to our meetings and start to understand what we're doing and how we're teaching. There's a reason for this. This is all part of preparedness. This is not, let's get right to brass tacks here. Preparedness is not buying an AR-15 and 10,000 rounds of ammo. That is one minor portion of being prepared. It's food, water, medical supplies, communications, shelter, everything you need, protection financially, which is where you invest in your gold and silver or other tangible assets that could be bartered with. We'll get into that into another video of dealing with tangibles, but right now the main tangible we're discussing is the precious metals. So tell them about our meetings and what we're doing and why we're doing it. So we're going to explain to them that we are a disaster preparedness group and we are trying to help the local community be ready for an economic collapse, which is coming, okay? Modern times, we're seeing economic collapses all around the world, and people are beginning to barter for gold and silver in their countries. This is nothing unusual. Keep in mind that the dollar bill and the 5 and the 10s and the 20s in your pocket is what's called a fiat currency. It's not backed by anything. They used to be backed by gold. They changed that in 1970 under the Nixon administration, 70, 71 right in there. That used to be backed by gold. No longer. It is only backed by the full faith and credit in the United States government by the American people. But it has no intrinsic value. It's only because they say it does. If the world decides to not use dollars as the world reserve currency, or the BRICS nation goes to their own central bank digital currency, dollars will no longer be accepted and it will become worthless. Here's a clue. All fiat currency. In the history of the world, more than 3,000 different fiat currencies around the world all fail. Let me say that again. They all fail. This is an historical fact economically. Why would you not think that the United States dollar will not fail? It is a fiat currency, not backed by anything, and we will head for a hyperinflation the same way they did in Weimar Germany, the same way they did in Zimbabwe, the same way they did in other countries where their currency failed, and the only way for them to think they can solve the problem was to begin printing money. And they hyperinflate it, and then it's worthless. And that's when your gold and silver is really going to kick in. So here's another thing. Would the business be willing to barter for other tangible assets? When we get into what tangible assets really are, we know your average guy out there, let's just take a farmer's market, which is going to be a very valuable place. You're going to need food. No farmers, no food. They might be willing to barter for guns, ammo, knives, gardening tools, other pieces of equipment. There's a lot of things that have value. But if you don't want to do that and you've got a pocket full of pre-65 silver quarters, that's going to be your means of transferring what they have to you, and you're going to give them something of value. And they will understand that really quick. Here's a hint. Up in the Northeast, farmers markets are already beginning to trade for silver and gold. Okay, mostly silver, unless you're going to buy a ton of vegetables for some reason. But your produce, you'll be able to go in there with a couple of silver eagles and walk out with a whole basket of produce to feed your family for a week. So that's already happening. Here's the next clue here. All of this is being done right now prior to the CBDC transformation and during the beginning phase of the retail rollout. Now, what I mean by that quickly, the CBDC, central bank digital currency, has already been rolled out at the wholesale level. That's for the big boys to transfer money overseas back and forth rapidly so it doesn't slow them down on a business deal. Eventually it goes to the retail end, which is for you and me, and your bank is going to say one day, okay, you have so much money in savings. That's being transferred into a digital currency. And the only way you're going to be able to use that is with your phone, your iPhone, your cell phone, your Android, and it's all going to be done through different apps on your phone. This is how they do it in China. This is being rolled out as the Chinese system, which is a social credit system. And I will get more into that later, but in the future for you to know that the social credit system means basically you say something bad about the government, they'll fine you. They'll take it right out of your account. If you say something bad twice or 3 times, they may close your account altogether. This is a population control measure. This is why we don't want it, but it's coming, and there's not going to be anything we can do about it. So the idea is to have an alternative system in place, ready to go, and start to educate anybody you know. If you've got family or friends that have a small business, even if they have a larger business, ask them flat out. In the future, we know that they're going to devalue the dollar and we're going to go to a central bank digital currency, which is literally digitizing the fiat currency. If the money is no good, if the foreign governments don't want US dollars and they digitize it, what makes you think anybody in the United States is going to want it? It's not backed by anything. It's just numbers. And that's going to be an issue. I don't think the government has this completely thought out, but the American people are not stupid. They can figure this out rather quickly, that it's not worth anything. So this is all to be done right now, and we'll see how it goes in the future. Later on, we will get into the difference between a gray market economy and a black market economy. Gray markets, right at the beginning phase of things not going well economically for the country. A black market is when you're dealing in contraband. Now, people ask me all the time, what if the government confiscates the gold again? Yeah, they've done it before. They did it in 1933. I think if they pull that stunt again, that will be a direct lead into a full-scale civil war. And I'm talking a kinetic civil war, because the American people aren't going to tolerate that again. And same with any other metals. They did not confiscate silver because it was a much smaller denomination. I don't believe they will want to do that. But this government is being run by communists. I have no doubt they will try to restrict us using it, and that's when you get into your black market, okay? We are not giving advice to people to do anything illegal. Right now, it is perfectly legitimate and legal to convert your cash into metals and to be able to use it for barter and trade with a given business. So that's it for now, guys. I have a lot of stuff we're putting together on this. I will give you more information. Go to our website. We'll put it on the screen, ycpt.org. Give me a call direct. If you're seeing this video and you're not sure what I'm talking about, call me. I'll talk your ear off. Check our MeWe pages, but there will be a lot more documented information for you in the very near future. Thanks for watching, guys. Give me a holler. Come to the meetings. Go to the website. God bless America.